Alright, so for this week's make and take, we are making the tie-on thread catcher, which will look like this when you are done. It's going to be a nice little thing you can hang on around your sewing machine, around your table, whatever you use to sew. For this one, you are going to need your kit. It'll come with everything you need minus the pattern. The pattern will be sold separately. Alright, so the first thing you are going to do is you are going to cut your pattern down to the size it says in the pattern. And then you are going to box out your corners. There's two ways you can box out your corners. I'm going to show you both. If you have the Carolina Moore template, that's what I use. If you don't have that, all you have to do is measure what it says in their directions. So we'll do that real quick. So for instance, you are going to measure what it says in the directions on how small, how big of the box corners that you need to do. And with that, you can use a smaller ruler. You can measure it out, what you need it to be. Mark it with a pen. And then cut said corner. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and do that first. And I'll be right back. Alright, so now that I've prepped everything, I did forget the first thing we're going to actually do is you're going to want to do your straps. So I've already cut this down to the size in the pattern. I did add a 1/2 inch to that because it has you fold one edge, a top stitch edge, but I actually like going a little bit farther than that, so I actually did a 1/4 inch on that one. So I'm going to go to my iron and iron in that 1/4 inch, and we'll be right back. Alright, so now that I have folded over my 1/4 inch seam, I'm going to go ahead and top stitch that to keep it from moving on me. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut one off. Clean this out just a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the right sides together and I'm going to stitch down this whole tube. I'm going to do it to both of them. Alright, and I am back stitching like you should be doing, regardless, no matter what project you're working on. But I am doing a little bit more, making sure I'm back stitching, You are going to have to turn this right sides out. To get them to open up the seams on the inside before I turn them out. So let me go iron those and I will be right back. Alright, so I have ironed my seams open on my tubes. The reason I do that is for when you turn it right sides out, when you have to go iron it again, it'll make everything fit and sit a lot better and makes everything flatter. So this is my tube turner that I use, and I will show you what you do. You stick it right in there, about 1/2 inch to 2 inches is good. You take your little wooden piece and you push. Sometimes it takes a little bit of practice. But you're basically just sliding it through. Okay. Hold, please. It wants to make it difficult now that I'm trying to show it on the tutorial. So I use the flat end. Some people like using the pokey end. I think you go through your fabric if you do that. So I've always done it this way. So just a little bit at a time, not very much to begin with. There it goes. And then slide it through. And like I said, I like using the flatter end. If you feel like you're stuck and you're gonna cause a rip in your fabric, you can always take out the wooden dowel. Okay, and run your tubing inside there, and it'll poke through. So there's that little trick. Now let's get the other one turned right sides out. I'm gonna try a different end because it might be, it's just too much bulk. Okay, so again, inch, inch and a half. And like so. Okay. Take your tube turner. And just slide it like that. All right, and then you go back to your iron because you want the seam to be in the middle. All right, so let's go ahead and go do that. All right, so once you get these ironed, they will be flat, and you are going to side stitch down both sides, the long sides. So all right, and I'm just going to go down this side. Okay, same thing. All right, so now that these are done, we're going to set these aside. And then we are going to work on boxing out your corners. Okay, put this away. All right, so what we are going to do now is we are going to start putting this together. Now what I will do first, even though it's not going to be done for a little bit, I am going to mark the middle of one of my mains, and I will explain that in a little bit. So I'm just marking it down the middle of said piece, okay? So now that I have that done, we are going to put the box corners together. So you're going to fold right sides together, and you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam down that line. And don't forget the back stitch, your start and your end stitches. Again, fold it. Okay. And you're going to do the same for the lining fabric. Now also, make sure that you fuse your fleece to your regular to your outside fabric. I should have said that before. I do apologize. The lining will not have any interfacing, just the outer sides, and the tie will not have anything either. Okay. And now you're going to do the other side. Okay, so again, all right, so now there's two ways you can do your seams. You can press them open using your iron just by sticking it in there, or you can fold one way or the other. I like mine being open. I know some people don't, and so they just fold it to the side. So I'll explain that in a second. All right, so your lining, how you have it like this, you can have part of it when you're putting it together be opposite, so they nest. So one goes this side, and then the other one will go this way. But I'm gonna go press them, so give me 1 second. All right, and once you get them ironed out, now you're going to start putting it together. You are going to take your lining fabric. I'm sorry, you're going to take your main fabric, turn one side out. And you are going to pin or clip them in place. Okay. I only do this at the bottom to keep my seams together. So I have it like that where it's bottomed out. And then I'm going to sew around using the 1/4 inch seam allowance on this one. Now on the lining, you are also going to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, but you are going to leave a turn opening about the size of what they say to do. Alright, so let's go ahead and do the lining, or the main fabric. I keep saying lining today. Don't forget to start in your top stitches. Now at this point you can pin or clip if you want to. I just tend to go a little bit slower to make sure you can line up. And like I said, I keep my edges clipped. And now the same thing for the lining. Just remember to leave a opening to turn everything right sides out. Again, this is a fairly easy project. Just make sure you're keeping everything lined up. And always back stitch your stitches. Okay. Alright, so alright, we're going to set this aside for now. You are going to take your main fabric, turn it right sides out, and look for the one that you marked. So for instance, right here, I marked the blue. I don't know if you can see it. It's really right there. And what you are going to do is you are going to base stitch on that line. Now with your handles, okay, you're going to have them facing this side in, because when you lift it up, your seams will get hidden when you go to tie it. Okay. You're going to take your handles. Now it says in the directions for your handles to go ahead and top stitch going around and then clipping them at 20. I clip them beforehand. It just makes it easier for me. But you can do it however you feel comfortable doing it. Okay. And then I am actually going to also stick a needle in there. Because I put these upside down, it just keeps them secure. Alright, and now we are going to base stitch. Okay. Alright, so the way I do it is I do a basting stitch on here. You can also leave the needles in, and even if you want, you can clip it. So now we are going to take the lining portion and we are going to insert it. Now give me 1 second. right, sorry. So what I like to do when I'm ironing, I will iron my opening, turn opening, so that way when I turn it out, it's flat. So that's what was taking me so long. So now you are going to put everything in the lining. And you are going to line up these seams together with the seams from the outside. So the way that is going to work, all right, so you have your edges right here. You're going to take your edges from your lining and you're going to line it up. Again, same thing on the other side. Make sure everything is lining up on the bottom. Okay. Okay. All right, and then just kind of make sure everything is lined up the way you want it inside there. And now you're going to take off these little clips and you are going to stitch around it. I like to stitch, I start and stop wherever. If I have handles, I like to start there if it's in the middle. If not in the middle, I usually like to start in the back. So alright, make sure everything still lines up. Okay. And then back stitches, start and stop, disconnect, or cut your thread, however you want to say it, disconnect. Alright, so then you're going to take your lining and your main fabric and you're going to pull it. You're going to pull everything through the turn opening. Like so. Okay. Alright, and now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and top stitch all the way around. Don't forget to take out your pins holding certain things in place. Okay. And now you are going to go ahead and put everything inside there, and you are going to top stitch all the way around. You can even put the ties up for this part. Alright, so now we are going to go ahead and top stitch. Again, I like to start in the back. So now we are finishing up with backstitch sewing. Go ahead and backstitch, cut your thread, and now you're going to close your turn opening as well. Okay. So then you're going to pull your lining out. And you are going to close your opening. So alright, so now I am officially done making this up. You are going to stick your lining back in. And then you have a perfectly functioning tie catch-all for your sewing machine. You can put it on the table, the sewing machine itself, if that's what you want to do. But yep, so that's it. Come down to the store, get your kit and your pattern because they are going to be sold separately. And thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. Everyone have a great one. Bye.